Okay, just getting, there we go. So let's get started. Welcome, everybody. This is very exciting. We've got a really lovely guest in the studio. And as you know, I'm Lyndon Thorpe, and I'm really so glad to be here with you. And my special guest today is Laura Blodniece, and we're thrilled to share this space with you today, Laura. So
Thank you.
welcome.
Thank you, Lyndon, for having me here.
Our pleasure. Just let me introduce a little bit about you, if I may, talk about you. You are a confidence coach, and you told me that you broke down into a state of clarity, and you had many setbacks, and you developed those into strategies yourself. And now you help high achieving women stop performing strength and start living from self-trust, from self-confidence, and from emotional freedom. And you teach them, you show them that they don't need to be someone new. They need to return to the women they were before the world told them to shrink. Wow, I love that. It's great. I hope I've portrayed that accurately, but I think this work is fantastic. And it's very similar to the work I'm doing. And insights to my journey here with the millionaire mindset breakthrough, which is quite a mouthful, because today we're going to be talking about gratitude for event 2. And you and I talked about that the other day. And yes, I have a very kind of rosy view of gratitude, but in the work that you do, you've got a very different angle on that. And I'm really forward to talking to you about it. And it's going out to our LinkedIn community. So everyone, wherever you're joining from, welcome. And thank you for being part of this unfolding conversation. Okay, so first of all, if I may, I'm going to share my screen with you. I'm going to give you a short presentation. I'll try and keep it as short as I can. I asked Laura to think about some questions earlier, so I'm sure you've got some fabulous answers for those questions. But just let me introduce the session now by showing you my slide. If I can wade my way through all my pages open. from the start. We've got internet, I'm afraid, but not surprising. We're all in such different parts of the world. Laura is in Riga in Latvia. I'm in Tokyo, Japan. And my lovely assistant, Natasha, is in Western Africa. So we are really all over the world. We are world women. So anyway, welcome. Let's get started. This is a live series. There are 13 events, same time every Wednesday. And that should be BST, by the way, not GMT, I'm told. And I'm Lyndon Thorpe. And my campaign is called Escape the 9 to 5 Grind. And Laura is here as my guest, and she's the CEO of Confident Confident Woman. Yeah, I think that's more powerful. So let me see if I can just move on. Here we go. Yeah. Okay. There we go. Okay. First of all, let me tell you that I'm very keen for you to join my email list. And if you do so, you'll get regular tips on transformation and mindfulness and so on. And I've actually recorded 5 videos which form a training to get you started with transformation so that you can go on and live your ideal life. You can go to my website and everything is there to show you how to opt in and access the videos. So these videos are really all about earning a really wonderful living from the internet as a netpreneur, and how I can help you with that, with my millionaire commitment path. Sorry about this sales pitch, Laura. Anyway, here are the questions I'd love you to think about. Okay, the first one. Everybody, please think, when was the last time you felt something greater than yourself move through you? And how did your body respond? Now, what I'm getting at here is goosebumps, breath problems or pauses, spine tingles, you know, those moments when something really shivers through you. Happens to me all the time, actually. But I'm really interested to know when it last happened to you and how you responded. And second question, what do you take for granted that, if truly seen, might awaken deep gratitude in you today? In other words, in our comfortable, convenient societies, most of us, many of us, really take so much for granted. Yeah, many of us have forgotten what gratitude is. We have forgotten what it is to appreciate things. We're so busy, we're so dominated by screens and that kind of thing. And so I'm really interested to know the answer to this question. What do you take for granted? And if you truly saw it, might it awaken deep gratitude in you today? This could be your breath, might be a silence, could be a tree outside your window, it could be anything, really, because we're all unique individuals. We all have DNA, unique DNA. And so everybody has a different story to tell. And that's what makes life so fascinating. And thirdly, if you slowed down enough to notice what your body is grateful for, what would it whisper back to you right now? Maybe not your mind, your body. Yeah. Maybe something like breath. Yeah, for me, always breath is so important. So in a moment, we'll come back and we'll chat about those 3 questions and see what Laura has to tell us about them. Just have a think about them. Very often, this kind of reflection will bring up all sorts of things you hadn't thought of, because reflective thought is very different to ordinary thought. So if you're reflecting, you'll notice something different. Let me tell you about me and my practice of gratitude to set the scene before we start to talk, Laura and I. I am a great gratitude practitioner, and that comes spiritual background because I'm a very strong Buddhist. I'm a Buddhist priest, actually. And I've practiced gratitude all my life, consciously, most of my life as a Buddhist. I've been a Buddhist since I was a teenager. So for me, my practice of gratitude is here, this river. Yeah, I am a river and I flow on. And I flow onto the ocean and I flow over obstacles, around obstacles. I even flow in drought. I go underground and trickle and then I come up again later. So I flow through my life. And as a river, I can appreciate every bubble of water, every glow of sunlight, every fallen leaf into my river. I love it. So for gratitude is about flowing on, and that's what human beings do, and that's what all life does. It doesn't stay still. It's not static. So gratitude for me is a really moving practice. It's a flowing practice. It goes on and on. And I would show you my river video, but I'm anxious to talk to Laura. So we leave that for another time. And by the way, this is your freebie today. You can get this, if I can get it up. Yeah. I've made a loadable gratitude journal. Coming, is it coming? Oh, nearly. Ah, the internet is very slow today. Okay. The Millionaire moments from this presentation. Yeah, yes, you'll get that follow-up mail. Let's go back to the presentation. Let's move on. Wrong. Just a moment. See if I can. Here we go. So today, yeah, I'd just like to very quickly and briefly talk to you about what gratitude is. What are the obstacles to gratitude? How do you overcome obstacles? I've just given you my secret, flowing like a river. Do not take anything personally, which maybe people say to you. How can you detach? Okay. And how do you spend your mindful moments? Okay, maybe you practice breathing, etc. And we'll find out more in a moment about those things. But just briefly, let's look at gratitude. It's more than a feeling. It's a way of seeing the world. People think it's a feeling. It's not. It's a whole perspective. And it reconnects us with awe. Awe. You know, people say awesome, but do they really know what it means? Awe is a very ancient human emotion. And our ancestors had it all the time. But we've lost our connection with it because we live in urban conurbations. We don't get into nature enough. And we've lost our sense of wonder in a way. Yeah, in early human history, gratitude was normal, natural. We marveled at things like the sun, the stars, the gift of existence. Many people don't even see the sun or the stars these days. Yeah, modern life tends to numb us. We're busy chasing success, and we forget to see the beauty in what we already have surrounding us. So gratitude really is the key back to abundance, and it allows us to see the extraordinary in the ordinary, to anchor ourselves in the present. And that's very much what my practices are about, if you're following them on LinkedIn, and how to attract true wealth and fulfillment. So it's not just about saying thank you. That's a little part of it, but it's much more about remembering what it means to be fully alive. And many of us have forgotten that because of our societies, because of our structure and so on in society. So those things are important, to be able to see the extraordinary in the ordinary, to anchor ourselves in the present, and to attract true wealth and fulfillment. Okay, now maybe you recognize this. This is a baby Buddhist priest, a Tibetan priest. They start very early in Tibet. He is about 3, and he is a superb living monument to gratitude. And yeah, this is another wonderful image, I think, of being truly grateful for our existence on Earth. Okay, those are some of my favorite images. Oh, this is a horrible one. Sorry about that. But yeah, what blocks gratitude? What stops us from being grateful? Well, there are many things. We tend to crave more and more. So even though we may be successful, that fades. And we crave even more. We never seem to have enough. Scarcity is a big problem, and comparison. We're constantly comparing ourselves with others and being envious, or we're constantly lacking something which we try to reach. Living in the future or the past, they don't exist. They are concepts. Now and here, that's the only reality. And mindfulness tells us that gratitude is now. Entitlement, that's a big thing today, and expectations. We all feel entitled and we expect a lot. Stressed, overwhelmed. Maybe we have unresolved pain or trauma, and anger. Wow, yes, I am shocked at the anger in the world today, and also at the resentment. So these things are all blocking us. Now, in Buddhism, just a brief trip into Buddhism, gratitude is seen as a spiritual offering. And we have something called the 4 reflections on our precious human life. And we say, one of them is, we say, it's hard to be born as a human being. Yes, it really is. And now that I am, I must make this life meaningful. Now, this is one very big practice in Buddhism. And in Buddhism, we see gratitude not just as receiving, but as giving back. It deepens into connection. It can dissolve your ego. It can open your heart. Practicing gratitude is a way to awaken the richness of life. And we can truly awake by generating gratitude. These are maybe new ideas to you. I'd be really interested in your questions. In my practices, I teach breathing techniques for stress relief, the science behind gratitude, and so on. You can read many of my articles on LinkedIn. I also, on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, in fact, I've just finished my Wednesday session. I run 3 sessions called Mindful Moments, Touch Your Heart every day. It's about 30 minutes. And I actually take you into the science of listening, anchoring the moment with your breath, and your spine, visualizing your natural state. This is every Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. So do join me. It's wonderful. And I've had very good feedback about it. Now, something exciting. Many people have asked me to make a product because they love Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, but then the other days they're lost. Yeah, and it's true. I think many people would love to practice mindfulness, but they can't actually make that step and make the time and sit and do it or stand and do it. So I've created a product called Lodestone. It's about the 4 natural compasses in the body. I won't say too much about it now. You can find out about it. But basically, the main one is the nerve, which we can stimulate and tone up through meditation and mindful practices. So, yeah, contact me if you'd like to know more about that. So, yes, this is our secret weapon, gratitude. And we can use it as a wealth magnet. This is the second event in the 3rd cycle of this event series called the Millionaire Mindset Breakthrough. So I'm Lyndon Thorpe, and please stay in touch. Let's keep walking on together and have a look at Lodestone. Contact me, DM me, and I'll tell you more about it. And I've also got a free gratitude monitor to give to you if you're interested. Okay, that's it. Let me keep like to set the scene because these sessions are weekly, as you know, and we tackle a different topic each week. And gratitude is a really important one. So tell me, what do you think gratitude? Yes, do unblock.
Okay, you're breaking away a little bit. So sometimes if I re-ask the question is because I haven't heard it till the end.
Oh, well, do say if you want me to repeat.
Yes, please. Yes, please.
Okay, so yeah, sorry, yeah, we have a bit of wind here at the moment, so it's maybe a little unstable. But yes, gratitude is the second topic in this 13-inch series, and I find it with my mentees, I find it so powerful because many people is what it truly is, you know. I'm so lucky because I've been practicing gratitude for many, many years consciously as a Buddhist. And of course, this is one of the greatest teachings of the Buddha, to be grateful for what you have now. And then everything that comes to you is glorious, you know, because you've got so much already. How do you feel about that?
I love the concept of it. And I also practice gratitude. However, there's also like the dark side of it. And I practiced it for many, many years.
Ah, great.
And it's a toxic gratitude. And toxic gratitude mostly comes in when we are in survival mode. And that's what I discovered about myself. That we are being grateful for what we have. And we can be, let's say, in abusive relationship, in jobs where we are bullied, and we would be grateful for that because it's better than have nothing instead of it. And then we get more of what we are grateful for. So for me,
yeah, this is wonderful, wonderful. Go on, go on.
So for me, actually realizing that I was in that survival mode and I was grateful for things that didn't work out for me. And I see many, many women who have, say, grown up in households where there's no emotional safety, there's no emotional attachment, and they've been fighting all their lives. So seeing and hearing about the gratitude and saying you should be grateful for what you have, I think sometimes can be the wrong advice if you are in a mindset or in that survival mode that doesn't serve you.
Yes, great. And this is because very full of light and positivity, because I've had a glorious life and never really been in a dark place, never really been in such a dark place. And so that's why I'm so grateful that you're here to bring a new perspective into this. And I realize that probably being so positive about it may be the wrong advice, and it may be very irritating to many people. So great. Yeah. Go ahead and knock me down.
Absolutely. Absolutely not. But I do think that there are so many, not just women, but also men who have been underdogs and they haven't had
Yeah.
that happy childhood. And they had to survive however they can. And they might seem also when they're grown up, they might seem very successful from outside. They might have achieved many things and they might be wealthy, but inside there's this void anyway. So yes, they might be grateful for where they are, but also it comes with a cost, with the health, with your health, with your nervous system. And I think
Yes, indeed.
And I think that like true gratitude comes from having your heart open when
Yeah.
you feel it here, when you feel the love towards yourself and to the world. And that's
Yeah.
when we can say, I'm grateful for this, that, and the other. But when we are grateful from having our heart closed, from being in survival mode, then unfortunately this gratitude can be tied into wrong things.
Yeah. I can really see that, and you expressed it very well. My view of this, in a moment, I'll come back and ask you a little bit more about your background and how you got into this darker side of life. Yes, I have a mission in my life to lead as many people as I can out of the darkness and into a situation where they are self-dependent. And one of my heroes or heroines is someone called Ayn Rand, who you might know, a Soviet person. I'm sure you know her. She is one of my great heroines because, as you know, she was in the first phase of Soviet Russia and escaped, managed to defect. But her writings are bold me, and you know, her plea for people to become self-dependent, to cease their dependence, to walk away into a place, into the limelight. Yeah, and in my work, life. So people are kind of trapped in their second-hand life. And I was too, in a way, even though I've always had my spiritual life. because as an educator, I've been an educator all my life, university educator mostly for the last 20 odd years, 30 years. But basically, I was in a situation where I was always empowering other people, always. And working for an hourly rate. And, you know, as you probably know, I don't know if you've worked as a teacher yourself, but as a teacher, you never get paid very longer than anybody else, you know, because you prepare and you follow up and you're so conscientious. And I'm afraid I am one of those kinds of teachers. Can't do it unless I do it properly, you know. So I spent many, many years living a secondhand life, empowering other people with all my might. And I loved it, don't get me wrong. Adored me, and we had a great time. We learned so much together. But at the end of the day, I did neglect myself. And then 2 years ago, I retired. I had to retire because in Japan, I'd reached the retirement age. And I'm so glad I did, because, and, you know, maybe I kind of touched on the darkness. I was just completely burnt out, I think, after 40 plus years of giving, empowering others. So I fell apart and was like a thief for about who I was. Then gradually I wake up. In my Buddhist practice helped me to do that quickly. And I realized how much I'd sacrificed. Now, this is another of my favorite topics, sacrifice, because that especially in Indian speak, in the Christian world, and to a certain extent in the Muslim world too, we are taught that sacrificing ourselves is the best possible thing. And, you know, this tunes in to what you're saying about people who stay in abusive relationships and in a dark place, and force themselves to be grateful. It's, in a way, isn't it a kind of sacrifice also, that? Interesting, I think.
It is.
But yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, it is. And I would say it's not conscious.
Yeah, I would say that too. Yeah. And I really felt that. Of course, from time to time, I got really fed up with neglecting myself during all those years. And I had quite long vacations, so I could at least start some other projects. You know, I'm a writer, actually. But then always the dreaded day came when school got back in session, and I'd have to drop everything. And yeah, I think that we feel good. Now, the other aspect of my campaign, the Escape the 9 to 5 Grind campaign, is that all of this structure that controls us is a kind of conspiracy. That we are forced into the workforce, we are pressurized to be successful, to get qualifications, to climb to the top of the ladder, blah, 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 blah. And then at the end of the day, we're still being paid an hourly rate, perhaps, or even being paid off and made redundant or pensioned off. And then what do we have? It's a kind of conspiracy that we should work and we should settle for an hourly rate, and we should depend on our employers. And I was guilty as anyone else of that until 2 years ago. And when I retired, that was it. I saw the truth so strongly. And so I followed Ayn Rand's advice. And I am now really living for me. having sacrificed my life to other people, now living for me. And I love it. It's fabulous. Oh, yeah, I think that so much of our social lives are controlled, I'd love to think about this, by these invisible rules, that it's not quite respectable to be unemployed. It's not quite respectable to have no money. I think it's one of the most liberating things in the world for a while, certainly for me. And we are kind of pressurized into fitting in to that hourly pay rate. And part of my mission, a big mission, is to get as many people as possible to step into the limelight like I have, and start to live their ideal life. Now, this hopefully guide to many of the people come across who are trapped in dark places, and want to offer to people. But go ahead. What do you think about that?
Which part of all of them, Linda?
Sorry. I'm getting on my hobby horse. I love it. I don't get to talk to so many people actually here in Japan, because these things you can't really express in Japanese. And because, people don't talk about things like that here. Everybody toes the line. It's ranting and my enthusiasm and my all of this stuff. I talk to her more than anybody else, really, poor thing. But yeah, I mean, what do you think about the pressures that society put on people? And you can include that in the gratitude thing,
Unfortunately, I have to say what I've seen from when it's with social media, say the young generation, when they compare themselves to others and they're grateful for things that don't matter. They take things for granted.
Yeah.
Big scale.
Yes.
Like, say, my grandma was deported to Siberia after the Second World War. So my mom was born in Siberia. And then they were allowed to come back home. Like, my family lost the family home because of that. So I learned to be grateful for little things. And also that's when the toxic gratitude came in, because I would put ceiling on myself. And seeing how people now don't appreciate important things like their health, that they are surrounded with others, they have connections which they don't value, they have beautiful friendships which they don't see because they are too busy sitting on social media telling how beautiful their life is, not connecting with people in real life. Taking that for granted, taking for granted that people will be there for them forever, and they won't.
No. Yeah, this is a really, really good point, I think, because social media takes up so much time, doesn't it? For many people. And
it's easy to get lost in it. Yes. You think I'm gonna go in there and scroll a bit, and like 2 hours later.
Yeah, you're still there.
Still there comparing yourself to others and how much your life hasn't worked out.
Yes. That's right. And that's what I mentioned in my presentation. That's what is one of the big obstacles, that we are constantly comparing and longing for things that others have got. And that is really very sad. And I do feel like you, I feel that social media really engenders that. I think it there are rabbit holes there, as I call them. As you say, you start to read something and then you click and you're there 2 hours later. And I actually really don't like it. I really don't like it because I think it demoralizes people. LinkedIn is great and we're all here and we're all supporting each other, but we don't really know what to say to each other in many ways, because it's social media, because we're posturing, because we're, selling, because we're trying to get attention. That's another
Because
problem.
people are so scared to be found out that they are not those who they're pretending to be.
Mm. Yeah, that's a really great. Is another one of my hobby horses. We don't really know who we are, most of us, to be frank. And then what we do is we get pulled into social media, pulled out of our real, true selves. And yeah, as you say, we get lost. We really do get lost. So what's the answer, do you think, for the future? Will social media go on growing as it is with these giant platforms becoming dictators? I've just been kicked off Facebook again. I've been kicked off Facebook 4 times.
You are breaking rules, Lyndon. That's
Yeah,
impressive.
but I have no idea which rules I'm breaking. It's really strange. So I just got a new profile about 4 weeks ago and it was going fine. And I just doing what everybody else does. I wasn't even selling anything. I was just chatting to my family and stuff. Next thing I get told, sorry, your account terminated because you are not following the rules. So I have no idea which rules I'm not following. But I really don't care, actually, at
Maybe the
all.
universe is trying to tell you just like Facebook is not your place. Just give it up.
You're absolutely right. This is the 4th time this has happened. And in fact, a friend of mine in New Zealand or Australia said to me, I said, oh, I can't follow you anymore on Facebook. And she said, uh-oh, you've been kicked out again. I said, yes. She said, I'm so glad, Lyndon, because it's not you at all. It's not your thing. And it's really, really so true because before I created this new profile, every time I went on Facebook to try and seriously promote things, I was proposed to. I received so many proposals of marriage on Facebook. God knows why. I mean, I'm as old as the hills.
Maybe that's why you got kicked out, because you refused all of them.
Maybe. I cannot believe men were hounding. And it was really funny because mostly they were widowers. And they wanted a new mother for their children. Well, I'd make a really terrible mother, definitely, I'm sure. But yeah, so what's the future of social media in your view, Laura?
I think social media gonna get bigger, but that's why humans have brains. So we can use it and differentiate when we need to break away from it and actually have time for ourselves and build real connections in a real life.
Mm, mm, yeah.
So
I think that's so
yeah,
important. But the problem is, I teach digital literacy. That's another one of my things, and one of our parts of our mission is to try to bring underprivileged people, because there's still 4 billion people who can't access the internet. So a part of the mission is to bring people into digital literacy and get them sponsored by people with money. It's called the Legacy Partnership. And I'm really so passionate about this because you know, literacy is the key. And I don't mean just messing about on your phone on Facebook. 20 years when I came 20 years ago when I came to Japan, I thought, oh, wonderful. These students are going to be so good, so digital. And as a university teacher, I thought, oh, great. I won't have any problems with submitting theses and things like that. They were terrible. They could operate a computer to save their lives. And if I put a computer in front of them, talked about it, they'd have a panic attack. They were great with their phones and their thumbs, and they are fabulous with phones, but they are computer illiterate. So I spent most of my 20 years here teaching digital literacy, believe it or not. I'm talking about involves, proper digital literacy, which means computers. It means, learning how the internet works properly, not just on a social media platform, so that you can make an income. I know people do make income from social media platforms too, but you need a website really to make considerable income. So I very much push the start your own business, your own thing, to try to get people to realize that social media is just a dictator who will kick them out any minute, probably. And especially with the rise of AI, I mean, the more robots that are roaming around, the more likely you're going to be seen as a robot. I think they see me as a robot, actually. That's why they've kicked me out, perhaps. Yeah, I mean, it helps people not to get addicted to social media when all their friends are addicted. Did you catch that, or did I?
Yes,
Yeah.
I think I did. I think I think I did.
Am I
But
coming and going? Oh dear, sorry.
yes, you are. That's fine. I think I understood your question. What to do if like all the friends are addicted to social media as well, right?
Yeah. That's it. It's such an in thing, a cool thing to be on social media, isn't it? So how can we entice people to move away from that?
Yeah, I think someone needs to start it because people kind of follow the crowd. That's how they move. So if one of the friends becomes interested in nature
Yeah,
and then invites others, I think once you are in nature, something really changes. Like take all your friends to the place where there's no Wi-Fi or internet available, somewhere in
brilliant.
the forest.
Yeah,
Make a trap, make it a trap.
yeah, yeah. Superb. I agree utterly. And that's, as I mentioned earlier, that's where we can get our greatest sense of awe and our greatest sense of gratitude, I think, out in the natural world.
Can I
But
mention something?
yeah, please.
Like I have lived in like now 6 countries, and I have to say that people who are around Mediterranean, like Italians and Greeks, they are in social media, but the lifestyle and the life is taking over. They are so alive and being here and now that it's incredible. It's incredible
Mm,
to see that.
mm,
Whilst when I was in Ireland and also England and also Switzerland, you can see people are living their lives are on social media, on the phones. And when you go to like different countries, it depends from culture, but there are cultures where people are here and now, and the phone is secondary. The kids are running around and playing and screaming, and I just love it because they are alive. They enjoy their
mm,
food. They feel all these smells. They have passion. And
mm,
then there are those who I have seen babies eating at the restaurant and parents put the phone like this in front of them so they don't have to bother.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
if you want your child be unresponsive, don't ask any questions and be kind of like a brain dead because that's what's happening, then fine, like knock him out. But
Yeah.
it it's your child and you are already ruining their lives.
Yes. Yeah.
So yeah,
Agree. Yeah, I know. I lived in the Mediterranean myself for 7 or 8 years in the Pyrenees in France, and that was so glorious. And if there's anywhere I want to go back to, it's the south of France. As you say, so alive. There is something so magical about the Mediterranean. Um, isn't there? And the food and the wine and the
and the talk and the
whiteness
talk.
and and real life, as you say. Yeah, absolutely. I know that even in the mountain village where I lived, which only had 300 people in it in France, in the south of France, there were no phones. There were no phones at all. I mean, there were no land phones, never mind mobile phones. And people was on the doorstep watching the sun go down, chattering away. The noise of people chattering in this little village was fantastic. I totally agree. And I think that it's so sad that the rural ways of life are disappearing in many parts of the world, aren't they?
Yeah.
So that people are flooding to the big cities to make money, you know. And so, yeah, I think if only people could believe in the power, the restorative power of nature, we would have much less obsession with phones. Here in Japan, we've got beautiful nature. I live really in the countryside. I can walk for hours outside my back door. People don't think Tokyo is like that, but it is. The center is not, but outside, it's fabulous. But yeah, I have to say, here phones are people are upset. You see people running and sweating, holding their phone. They're jogging and holding their phone. So desperate now. A lifeline, because Japanese don't really have very good social skills quite often. They're quite nervous about strangers and foreigners and so on. So the phone is superb for them. So they're very introverted.
Yeah, and it's like it's I think this century disease, it's a disease of loneliness.
Yes, absolutely. And Japan leads the field on that. We've got more suicides here from loneliness than anywhere. And I'm so sad about that. And, that's another part of my mission to try and reach Japanese people eventually and show them that networking on the internet, joining a digital community is much more preferable than throwing yourself under a train, which happens every day here. It's horrible. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yes, is indeed um, epidemic, isn't it?
it unfortunately, yes, and people think they are on their own in this, and they're not, because there are others who feel
No.
exactly the same.
Yes, 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 yes. So, yeah, we're at a very dangerous point, I think, in the digital revolution, where I feel that so much is going to be pulled away from us by the rapid pace at which technology is developing if we're not balanced, if we're not mindful. And that's me. I'm a teacher, so I try bring people back to their nice, sorry, we've got there we are, our nice inner core, where we can really find our true nature, and yeah. Oh dear, these are amazing topics, aren't they? And we've gone a little bit off topic in a way, although I think it's all related. Gratitude was the original topic. So just to finish off with, what's one of the things you are so grateful right now, this moment?
This moment, I will go after this call. I will go out because currently I'm staying at my mom's house, which is in a countryside, which belonged to my grandparents. So there's entire history here. I'm gonna go to garden and I will take some fresh peppermint leaves and make fresh peppermint tea.
Oh, fab.
The smell and the fact that it's from the garden is just beautiful. So I'm grateful for that.
Wow,
Simple
superb.
thing.
Peppermint tea is my favorite too. What about you, Natasha? What are you grateful for at the moment? Come on, tell us. No? Go on.
Generally, I'm grateful for life. I think
Mm.
people tend to forget
Mm.
that when there's life, there's always hope.
Mm.
So we tend to give up easily. So I'm most grateful for life. It's another opportunity to take on. It's another opportunity for me to rethink. So that's what I'm most grateful for.
Excellent. Wonderful. I knew that. I knew that, of course. Thank you.
What about you, Linda?
So thank you so much to all of you, but especially to Laura. Thanks so much from Latvia. I'd love to hear more about your heritage. It sounds fascinating. Wow. And you knew exactly who I was talking about when I mentioned Ayn Rand. Most people have no idea. And I'm always trying to, explain her view of life. And thank you, Natasha, for being there. And so, yeah, thank you so much to everyone tuning in today, if you're out there. And if today's conversation in you, it certainly sparked many things into me. I've got so many ideas now, and Laura's going to make peppermint tea, and we're so excited. But yeah, if you have found this conversation sparking for you, please tell us, leave us a comment under the live window. And if you're interested in coming and joining these conversations, just DM me and we will invite you wherever you are in the world. If we can do it from Japan and Latvia and Nigeria, we can do it from anywhere. So wherever you are, we can do this. And I'd also love you to me, and I'll tell you what you can do next to the millionaire mindset. Thank you so much. Have a safe trip to the garden. And always, and we'll see you soon. Bye-bye. Bye.